Yo, what's poppin', everybody? It's your boy, Mike Gomes. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, if you haven't already, hit that freaking link in the description. It's going to take you to the free private Facebook group where we're doing deals like the one I'm about to go over today. I literally receive a check every single month from one wholesale deal, right? I was not the buyer. I was not the lender. I was none of that. Now, you're probably like, Mike, I don't even, how do you receive more than one check on a wholesale deal? That doesn't make any sense. Let's pump the brakes and let's just get into this deal because this was one of the most exciting deals I've ever done. Let's get into it. Yes, I literally receive a check every single month from one wholesale deal that I've done. So here's what happened. Lead comes in, I lock up the deal in literally one close. I knew it probably should have been too good to be true, but I locked this deal up. All right. And then as we go through the process of finding the buyer and running title and all these things, we have all that stuff in place. But there was one thing that we were waiting for. We were waiting for the total payoff. So one part of running title and going back and seeing what's attached to the property and all that type of stuff is figuring out what is the total payoff of the mortgage. Now, on this particular property, we found out that the total payoff was way over than what we had the property under contract for. Okay. So the total payoff was still actually at an amount that our buyer could actually perform on it, but it kicked us out of the deal. It meant that we weren't going to get an assignment fee. So this seller was actually going through foreclosure. And I tell him, I'm like, hey, Sylvester, do you know that you owe like way more than we're under contract for? And he's like, no, what do you mean? He knew that he was in foreclosure and that he owed a lot. But he's like, nah, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, you owe much more. I mean, in order for us to perform in this deal, um, at the contract price that we're at, you're going to have to come up with a lot of money. And he's like, I don't have that money. And I'm like, well, then he said this. He said, well, I could actually give you the money, but I could just pay you off over time. And I'm like, interesting. Okay. So I said, hey, Sylvester, how much could you pay me over time? He's like, well, I can give you $1,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, cool. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just keep everything that we have in place now, and you give me $1,000 a month until that part of the deal is over, and then you'll be wiped free and clear. You won't go in foreclosure or anything like that. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'm down. So literally, what happened? Follow this right now, right? So I get a property under contract. It was not the total payoff was not even close to the actual contract price. So we pretty much financed whatever the difference is, right? So let's just say for a perfect example, and I'm going to go over on the whiteboard here the exact deal so that you guys can have it in your brain. But let's just say, for example, you get a property under contract for $100,000 and the total payoff is 150. We pretty much just said, hey, we're going to perform on this deal so you don't have to come out of pocket at all. We brought a buyer in at 150 to wipe everything out. And then we just told Sylvester, hey, you owe us that $50,000 over time. So we pretty much financed our assignment fee to the seller. Pretty cool, huh? Let's get on the whiteboard and check out exactly what this deal looked like. See you there. Okay, so my guy Sylvester's house. I call Sylvester, right? And Sylvester says, hey, Mike, I want $200,000 for my property. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's go under contract. Literally a 1-day close. I close them on like the first call. So we go under PNS at 200K. All right. After we run title and find a buyer, so the squiggly line is running title. It's us assigning the contract. We find out in this process that Sylvester owes $240,000 on his property. So he owes 240 grand in order to pay off the mortgage. So he has a mortgage with an outstanding balance of 240,000 bucks, right? And we figure out that of this, like, I think it was, I want to say it was 40,000 bucks. I think it was in arrears, which means that he's in back payments of like 40 grand. So I'm like, Sylvester, we have this contract here for $200,000, but your total payoff to the bank is 240. If we're going to get this deal done, you're going to have to come up with this 40K. And Sylvester's like, what the heck? I don't have the 40K. And then he mentioned to me, I didn't even bring this up. He mentioned to me, he was like, well, I could get you that 40K if I give you $1,000 a month. He's like, I could pay you off over time. I'm like, well, how much do you think you can give me a month? He's like, I can afford $1,000. That's feasible. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I said, Sylvester, we're going to perform on your deal. By the way, when we assigned the contract, we literally assigned it right at 240. So we had to have the buyer come up like an extra $5,000 for fees and everything like that. So we assigned the deal at 245, which made it look like that we weren't making any money. So there's no room for an assignment fee here, right? But here's what we did. We said, hey, Sylvester, we're going to perform on this deal, AKA we're going to find you a buyer that will come up and pay off your mortgage completely if you give us this $1,000 a month. So Sylvester said, great. So what we put in place is something called a promissory note. This promissory note is pretty much like an adult IOU, and we put it for $40,000 over the course of 40 months. So we said, hey, Sylvester, you owe us $1,000 for the next 40 months. Are you cool with that? Are you able to afford that? He's like, yeah, that's fine with me. As long as you guys get the deal done for me and stop me from foreclosure, I'm completely fine with that. You know, I have the funds to do it. It's not going to break me. So I'm like, okay, cool. So every single month, we were literally to this day still receive a check for $1,000 a month. Every single month that comes in. And that'll come in. We're probably, I think we did this deal maybe 8 months ago or something like that. So we probably have like 32 more payments of this $1,000 a month. This $1,000 a month, it comes in handy. This covers like a virtual assistant for the month, right? It covers something for the month. It's pretty cool. So we pretty much financed our assignment fee to the seller in the form of a promissory note. Now, what we tried to do is we tried to keep this deal even more secured on our end. We tried to attach this, right, to something that he owns. So if he owned another property, we could have put this in the form of a lien on another property. Or we could have put this on a car. Let's just say he had a car. We could have put this attachment on the car. Hey, that car is ours if you stop making your payments. Okay. So you can literally attach this promissory note to pretty much anything. But let's just say in the event he fails to pay us that $1,000, we can take legal action. So we can hire an attorney and go to court and do all that type of stuff to try to figure out if he can get us this $40,000 with something else. We would never really do that. Just at the end of the day, if he stopped paying us, I'll be honest with you, we're kind of shit out of luck. But the guy is a man of his word. He's been paying literally every single month. The reason why I say we wouldn't go down that road is because, one, you know, I'm just not really in the business to go take this guy to court for $1,000 a month, right? But two, this thing is going to cost some money. There's legal fees that come up, and also we're going to have to figure out some way to get this $40,000, and he doesn't really owe much. So we probably it wouldn't be worth our time to do that. But if you guys are ever in this situation and you're like, hey, I want to finance my assignment fee, you can do that through a promissory note. And you can attach this promissory note to anything that they own, whether it's a car, whether it's a house with a lien on a house or whatever. Pretty cool deal, right? Literally in real estate, if you can put it on writing, then you can make it happen. You can pretty much do anything. Everybody thinks real estate is like so cookie cutter, but it's literally the wild, wild west. As long as it's on paper and you can get creative with it, then you can do it. I'm teaching all these type of different creative strategies and everything like that in that free private Facebook group. So hit the link below in the description, get in that free private Facebook group, and please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you get notified when these videos come out. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.